بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. What is faith? Philosophy and science. Just to begin with, brothers and sisters, I'm not a lecturer and I'm not a scholar. I'm just sharing some of my research and I want to facilitate a discussion. I want this session to be interactive, so please don't be shy to share your thoughts with us. Philosophy is very important in Shiism, and it is taught in most levels of Hawza. It's one of the fundamental differences in theology, in contrast with Sunni schools of thought. It shouldn't be dismissed. Often we hear people saying, there's no value in philosophy, and we have the Quran, and we have Sunnah, and we have riwayat from Ahlul Bayt, salaamullah alayhim. But there's a lot of value in philosophy. It provides a great framework for contemporary interpretations of Islam. Shaheed al-Sadr I, Hafidhullah, he dedicated most of his life's work to philosophical interpretation and the contemporary interpretation of Islam. So it's not a new concept in Shiism. In order for us to get closer to God, we should be able to contemplate His existence. What I say today has the potential to be controversial, so I need everyone to pay close attention, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, what is faith? Anyone in the audience today give us a definition of faith? Just feel free to call it out.
Iman.
Iman? Okay, that's good. Anyone else?
A belief in something.
A belief in something, very good. Anyone else? Okay, so some philosophers describe it as a para-illogical, spiritual concept that proposes a means of justification or explanation for our existence. It's described by other philosophers as a semi-illogical paradox. We give it a bit more value than that. Faith, we relate it back to Iman, as the sister over there said, and even further than Iman, Yaqeen, which I'll go further into a bit later. Faith as an ideology falls within the realm of probability. Does anyone know what I mean by that?
English, please.
There might be like parallel universes. It might be, might not be. So you kind of have to accept it. From the heart, even though it's not. You might not see it.
That's right. That's very good. And in the previous lecture, we also heard the sister talk to us about the presence of the Imam and about how the same way that we expect the sun to come out, the same way that we hope that it's going to be a sunny day, that that there is an existence, and that stems from faith. That stems from knowing that there's a higher power, knowing that there's something else. I'll use a legal concept to shed a bit more light on this idea. So, faith basically means that nothing can be proven or disproven beyond reasonable doubt. That's why it's called faith, because you can't really give sufficient explanation or justification for arguments for any side of the extreme. I'll address the philosophical aspect a bit later on. Let's take physics. If we take physics, for instance, to attempt to interpret or to justify the existence of God, for example, we instantly run into a brick wall. What do people think about this statement? That's from famous scientist Graham Andrews.
Why would we run into a brick wall if we try to use physics? Isn't physics a means of God's creation anyway, or a law?
Well, physics is a paradigm where the world is interpreted at a physical level. So what we can see, feel, touch, etc.
But if physics accepts the idea of wormholes and Higgs boson, which you can't see or calculate or measure, then why can't it accept the idea of God?
That's a very good point. Can anyone answer that?
No.
If we could answer that.
I don't even know what you said.
This is the philosophical dilemma. This is why philosophers have been arguing about this concept for thousands of years. But it's really good to contemplate. So, going back to the statement, if we take physics to interpret the existence of God, we will instantly run into a brick wall from Graham Andrews. Does anyone else shed a bit more light on this?
جاوب دكتور.
تفضل.
تفضل.
I think physics is a product of a deficient source, which is the mind. And to explain the ultimate by a deficient is impossible.
That's right, that's exactly right. So, scientists, a lot of them denounce the existence of God because it can't be proven at a physical level. Because you can't prove beyond reasonable doubt based on experiments or what you can do in a laboratory or a mathematical equation, you can't prove that there is a higher being. And that's where faith comes in. So look, bringing it back to philosophy, a popular argument is that we can't see, feel, hear or smell oxygen. How do we know it's there?
And we can see the effects of oxygen, right?
Yeah. So you know what it does, but how do you know that that's oxygen?
Oxygen, it could be named anything for that argument. It could be named paper, whatever it is.
Yeah, for
but
argument's sake. Yeah.
But the fact is that there is something that we use in order to breathe in, reciprocating air and things like this. So we know that there is the effect of something that is you can't see, I guess, by the physical or material sense.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, we know it's there because of the effect of the product.
That's true. So, in opposition to physics is what we have metaphysics. So, it's basically what we can't see, touch, feel, hear, smell, etc. And this is what faith falls into. An unnatural occurrence in physics, what believers may describe as a miracle, is described in physics as random physics. That's how they describe it. So anything that they can't prove, anything that's unnatural, anything that you can't really assess or do research on in a laboratory, they call it random physics. So there are obviously clear gaps in science. It's interesting that what science can't explain, that believers cling to as faith. It's not what science can prove that refutes the existence of God. Rather, it's what science cannot prove that gives us reason to believe in a greater being, a divine creator, God Azza wa Jalla. Since the beginning of time, people have been inclined to search for meaning, a reason for their existence, or meaning of life, if you will. Sometimes this is manifest in strange ways. There were those who worshipped the sun, those who worshipped the moon, those who worshipped fire, or in more contemporary times, there are those who worship the universe, or have faith in the universe. So you often hear people say, I wonder what kind of day the universe is going to give us today. Or there was this show I was watching on Foxtel. Some women were doing yoga, some pregnant women, and the teacher was telling them, you have to do these exercises to make sure that the universe gives you the best possible child. So this is a common trend. Even atheism, for instance, is considered to be a faith. It's a faith in nothing in particular, but it's still considered a faith. Well-renowned philosopher Aristotle says that the ultimate will to truth is the ultimate will to death. Who knows what this means? Ultimate will to truth is the ultimate will to death. Anyone? Pardon?
Die searching for the truth.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. So, that's the idea that no matter how much you search, you won't be able to find the truth. So you'll die searching. Okay. Anyone else? Where's that back in?
Well,
Yes.
That you can never find all truth.
Okay.
You'll die.
Nice. Very good. صلى على محمد وعلى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The idea here is that the idea of truth and faith are completely separate. And